Hi, friends. Today we need to have a tough conversation. By now, I am sure you've heard about the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Early Tuesday morning, a mammoth 213 million pound cargo ship crashed into the bridge, destroying it almost instantly. 6 construction workers were killed in the collapse, and 4 of their bodies have yet to be recovered. Federal investigators have now secured the ship's data recorder, and in time, that will shed light on how exactly this tragedy happened. But that's not good enough for some keyboard warriors on Twitter, or even some sitting members of Congress. Yes, I said sitting members of Congress. Instead of expressing sympathy for the dead, instead of considering the huge economic toll of this disaster, the far right has gone off the deep end, spreading unhinged conspiracies about the cause of the crash. They have claimed it was a cyber attack. They have claimed that the ship's captain may have been impaired by the side effects of the COVID vaccine. They've even claimed somehow that Israel and the Obamas had something to do with it. It would be funny if lives were not lost, and if these people weren't so clearly disturbed, and if some of them weren't serving in Congress. But I want to hone in on one particular conspiracy that has spread like wildfire online. This tweet here from Twitter user I am yes, you are no. It has been viewed by almost 30 million people. Quote, "This is Baltimore's DEI mayor commenting on the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. It's going to get so much worse. Prepare accordingly." Yes, folks, it wasn't a cyber attack. It wasn't the COVID vaccines. It wasn't Israel or the Obamas. It was DEI that caused this disaster. And think about what he said for a moment. Baltimore's DEI mayor. For the record, Mayor Scott was elected by 70% of the vote back in 2020. And Baltimore is more than 60% black. So actually, a DEI mayor in this context would be a white guy. So let's be clear. That Twitter user is only saying DEI because he's not brave enough to use the word he actually wants to use, and that's the N-word. If you're black in America, you are familiar with this little routine. Racists know it's no longer acceptable to openly spout racial slurs, so they disguise their bigotry with other terms. I imagine you've heard them all before: thugs, welfare queens, woke, CRT, and now DEI. When that Twitter user called Brandon Scott a DEI mayor, make no mistake, he was calling him an N-word mayor. My friend Joy Reid spoke with Mayor Scott last night and asked him what he made of the racist attacks levied at him in the aftermath of the bridge collapse. Take a look. I'll catch you on the other side.
I will allow you, Mayor Scott, if you choose to do so, to respond to the tomfoolery and attacks on you for having the nerve to be black and also a mayor.
Well, I think, listen, I know, and we all know, and you know very well, that black men and young black men in particular have been the boogeyman for those who are racist and think that only straight, wealthy white men should have a say in anything. We've been the boogeyman from them since the first day they brought us to this country. And what they mean by DEI, in my opinion, is duly elected incumbent. We know what they want to say, but they don't have the courage to say the N-word. And the fact that I don't believe in their untruthful and wrong ideology, and I am very proud of my heritage and who I am and where I come from, scares them, because me being at my position means that their way of thinking, their way of life of being comfortable and suffering, and while everyone else suffers, is going to be at risk. And they should be afraid, because that's my purpose in life.
And by the way, you know, the coded racism, before we even knew the nationalities of the men, Maria Bartiromo was out there talking about open borders and trying to somehow signal that they wanted to go after the brown people, too, because, of course, that is their other target. We know that the men who were doing this hard construction work overnight, trying to fix the potholes on this bridge, working very hard, were Latino. And so that's now on the table, too. We know that this ship, which came from Singapore, was piloted by a very heroic crew from India whose Mayday call saved lives, not maybe saved lives, but did. So this is a full-throated attack. But this is also what America is. It is people of multiple races who do the hard work to make America work and literally make it work. Talk about the importance of this port and how quickly you believe it will be back up and working.
Well, first I have to talk about those lives that we lost. Those folks came to this country to fulfill the American dream, the dream that they say should exist for everyone, but they really mean just for them. They were working, filling potholes in the middle of the night so all of us use that bridge could had better transit. This port is one of the most important, not just in the U.S., but in the world. And these folks that depend on these jobs, we are going to be working very quickly alongside and following the lead of our federal government, our state government, supporting in every way we can to get this port open back up. But we have to do that safely, in the right way, to make sure that nothing else happens in the getting it back up and working. We're going to do that each and every day. Everybody is working here together. We're ignoring all the conspiracy theorists, everyone who's playing bridge engineer at home, who's never even taken a class on engineering, and understanding that what this is about is showing the world once and again that Baltimore can't be broken, that our spirit is strong, and we will rebuild together and honor those who we lost.
Kudos to Mayor Brandon Scott. I think he has a bright political future, and he's correct. Now is too critical a time for him and the officials in Baltimore to pay attention to conspiracy theories online. They have real work to do and real people to help. Baltimore's port is the 9th largest in the country, and it's still currently blocked by debris. For months to come, the some 35,000 cars and trucks that use the Francis Scott Key Bridge daily will need to be diverted. But while Mayor Scott doesn't have time to talk about the racist conspiracy theories swirling around him, I do. This whole sorry episode perfectly sums up America's far right today. People are dead. We still have bodies lost in the water. Families have been shattered. A city has been rocked. And yet the only thing these trolls can seem to think about is coming up with new ways to say the N-word. New ways to spread their hatred as far and wide as possible while still hiding behind pathetic coded language. It's sad, really. But friends, I challenge you to call this bigotry out when you see it going forward. No, of course not every person who says DEI, not even people who say it derisively, are using it as a slur. But you know it when you see it. And when you see it, call it out. Thanks for watching The Don Lemon Show. Make sure you click on the image in the top right to subscribe to my channel and the thumbnail in the bottom right to watch more content from my show. And I'll see you next time.